Taikutsu. Let's talk today about Loui Eriksson, because why not? There is no reason to not talk about this player. We talked a little bit a week ago, I think, about the Amnesty Buyouts in the NHL. And how the NHL did use Amnesty Buyouts in the past. After the 2012-2013 season lockout, it gave every NHL team at least one amnesty buyout which they could use to buy out a player and have that buyout not be accounted for on their cap. Because the way the salary cap was modified from that lockout, and because teams were not allowed to pay players the same way they were before after the lockout happened, there was a lot of problems with some teams saying, yo, okay, well, these rules are in place that limit us from being able to proceed forward, which is why the NHL gave the teams the amnesty buyout option, which could allow them to free up at least one contract without affecting the salary cap. And because of how the NHL has paused itself up again this season, and because how revenue has dropped because there are no games going on, no TV revenue, no revenue from the fans, no advertising, etc., there has been a little bit of concern as to how the salary cap is going to manage itself. It was always supposed to go up. That's usually the pattern it follows every year. Once the season is done, and once the next season of salary comes in, the salary cap usually goes up. But this season, there has been a little bit of concern, and there is speculation that the cap may not rise a single bit, and it's so paramount to the point that some people may even say the cap may even just drop entirely. So, for teams like, let's just say the New York Rangers, who have to re-sign a lot of their RFAs, getting an amnesty buyout or two is going to be great. We talked about their team and their situation a little bit ago, talking about amnesty buyouts for Lundqvist and Staal, how that can free up so much money for the Rangers and give them the flexibility to re-sign D'Angelo, Georgiev, all those guys, etc. But on the Vancouver Canucks side of things, an amnesty buyout could be a gift from the heavens, an absolute treat. If the Vancouver Canucks are able to get at least one amnesty buyout, you know who they are going to use it on. The $6 million man himself, Loui Eriksson, who was signed to the Vancouver Canucks on a 6x6 deal back in 2016. Can you believe we have had 4 seasons of Loui Eriksson? And we have 2 more after this. Loui Eriksson with the Vancouver Canucks is a player who, in his 4 seasons here, was able to post up a pretty remarkable 89 points in 245 games with the Vancouver Canucks. Now, on paper, getting 29 points in a season in 81 games is not terrible, but the fact is Loui Eriksson is tied for the highest paid player on the team. Yeah, it's like kind of mind-boggling every time I bring that up. The most expensive Vancouver Canucks are Alex Edler at $6 million, Tyler Myers at $6 million, and Loui Eriksson at $6 million. It sucks because this is a guy who, before he came to Vancouver, had 30 goals and 33 assists for 63 points with the Boston Bruins. He was legitimately so good. It's why I made a video 4 years ago saying that Loui Eriksson was going to be such a good player for Vancouver, and time in and time out I get a comment here on that video saying, oh, you were wrong. And yeah, I know I was wrong. Sure, Loui Eriksson does the little things right, but the guy is just an overpaid contract that if the Canucks are able to get amnesty buyouts given to them, they can really free up and use that $6 million elsewhere. Not to mention Brandon Sutter, who is on this Vancouver Canucks team as well. Sutter is a guy who, honestly, when he's in the lineup, he can get hot sometimes, but the guy is injured every other week, and at $4.375 million, expiring in 2021, there's room to admit that, yes, we could see an amnesty buyout for Brandon Sutter too. The guy has played 5 seasons with the Vancouver Canucks, but if you take a look at his games played, the guy is at 242 games played in 5 seasons. 5 seasons, if you multiply that out, that's supposed to be 410 games. This guy's played 242. He's missed out on literally over 2 seasons worth of games. The guy is made of glass. And his money is not justified in the amount of performance the Vancouver Canucks have had out of Brandon Sutter. Sure, the 1 full year he had when he was here, 34 points in 81 games, that's not terrible for a $4.375 million player. But you bet if the Vancouver Canucks are getting 2 Amnesty Buyouts and they're able to free up $10 million in space of Sutter and Eriksson, then you're going to re-sign Toffoli, Tanev, and Markstrom. $10 million can do a lot. And on a team where you already need to re-sign Gaudette and Virtanen and Levo, all these other guys, it's not like the Canucks don't have the pieces to fill out the lineup without an Eriksson or without a Sutter. If you really want more players, call somebody up from Utica. Give Niels Höglander his chance in the NHL. Give Cole Lind a chance. Justin Bailey, Zach McEwen. A lot of these guys are on the brink of becoming NHL ready, if not already NHL ready. That's a lot of readies I just said. But it's so interesting to me how the Vancouver Canucks could get through this far with Sutter and Eriksson on their team, eating up the cap like this. I guess it was inevitable that this comes to bite us back in the behind soon, because the Canucks never really lost anybody of value, of significant value at least, because they couldn't afford to re-sign them in the past few years. You could say Christian Ehrhoff, but that was in a different era. Dan Hamhuis left because the guy just didn't want to stay here. But besides that, what, you want to talk about re-signing Verbata? No. There isn't really any situation within the past few years recently where the Vancouver Canucks have legitimately lost out on talent because they couldn't afford them. Mason Raymond comes to mind, but that was a long time ago. Toffoli, Markstrom, and Tanev is the big situation here that is new in Vancouver. For so long, we've been in a rebuild and trying to build up the youth that we haven't really had to deal with the uncertainty and the consequences of having a Loui Eriksson on the payroll at $6 million and a Brandon Sutter at $4.375 for this long, too. So hey, I'm a big fan of the NHL not raising its salary cap. Give me those amnesty buyouts. Let's see Henrik Lundqvist go to free agency. Let's see Loui Eriksson and Brandon Sutter go to free agency. Let's see the Vancouver Canucks get the money back to re-sign Toffoli, re-sign Tanev, re-sign Markstrom, and give guys like Bailey, McEwen, and whoever else you want to throw into that conversation a spot in Vancouver in Rogers Arena full-time as depth bottom 6 pieces. Because if there's anybody that deserves to be playing in the top 6 with Tanner Pearson and Bo Horvat, it's certainly not Loui Eriksson. Just imagine this. Your forward core on the Vancouver Canucks looks like JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, Tyler Toffoli. The second line goes like Tanner Pearson, Bo Horvat, Brock Besser. The third line has Antoine Roussel, Adam Gaudette, and Jake Virtanen. And the fourth line has, let's just say, Tyler Mott, Jay Beagle, and Zach McEwen. That's not even accounting for Josh Levo. Where the heck is Levo going to fit in this lineup if the Vancouver Canucks are going to re-sign all these players? Frankly, that's a problem that I would rather have than say, yikes, we just lost Chris Tanev because we can't afford to pay him. We just lost Tyler Toffoli. We traded away Tyler Madden and Tim Schaller and our second-round pick this year in such a stacked draft for 10 games of Tyler Toffoli. That is an overused point, I know that. 10 games of Tyler Toffoli for Madden, the prospect, the pick, etc. But it's something that I cannot shake out of my head, man. If we just got rid of Eriksson and Sutter with the amnesty buyout, we could get past this with no problems. So, NHL, do your thing. Salary cap, please don't rise. Give us a reason to get amnesty buyouts, either 1 or 2. If it's 1, great, $6 million is going to do wonders for this team. $4 million on top of that, even better. This has been a very passionate commentary about the Vancouver Canucks salary cap situation with Loui Eriksson and Brandon Sutter. I've been having faith in this team to move players and open up the cap space, but at this point, this seems like the much more plausible way to go around things, and it's something that I wish would indeed happen. So comment down below what you think about this topic. I hope you enjoyed this video, such as that Trust 99, and bye.